Thar rear wheel drive. Now, apart from the fact that this doesn't obviously have a 4x4 system, the biggest question about this vehicle is why? I mean, the Thar, ever since it came onto the scene, became a massive hit. The new Thar. And so much so that till date Mahindra is not being able to fulfill the orders. There's a long waiting list. The backlog is massive. And now there's this cheaper Thar, which I think will only add to numbers. So why are they doing it? Well, the simple logic to it is that smart companies always plan business in advance. And that's what Mahindra is doing. They know the demand will not always be this high. So they are just ensuring that different variants will mean a wider consumer base. But is this rear-wheel drive Thar good enough to appeal to that new or wider consumer base? Well, the best way to do that is drive. So let's get behind the wheel and find out. But before we do that, please do like this video, share it as well, and subscribe to our channel and hit that little bell icon so that you can stay updated to changes in the Thar rear-wheel drive. And well, let's get done with the design first, the exterior, interior, and the changes there are pretty much none. That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing because, well, the Thar is a new model, and beyond that, it's a design that people really love. So nothing has changed on that front. I think it's safe not to change that design. It gets the same kind of look and feel, the same kind of chunky tires, the same ground clearance. So all of that is good. Once you step inside the cabin, again, there also you do not see any change. The same kind of layout, the same infotainment screen. As usual, a little bit smaller for my preference, but does the job. Has got Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, gives you loads of information. So yes, a little smaller in size, but it's effective. And the seats, the space, all of it is same. So nothing changes. So in terms of you as an occupant inside the cabin, you do not gain anything, you do not lose anything when you compare it to the existing Thar experience. And that's a good thing. I mean, I do not see any shortcoming in that because any area of improvement, well, it's not possible to suddenly fix that with just a variant. So I think that's a good thing. They've maintained all of that. Now, coming to the driving part, which is the most important part, well, this one's powered by a petrol engine. You can choose for a diesel engine as well, but the one that we're driving has a 2-liter petrol engine. It's paired to a 6-speed torque converter automatic gearbox, 150 horsepower, 320 Newton meters of torque, which means that this is more powerful than its diesel sibling. Also, it is pretty fun to drive. Now, 150 horsepower for a vehicle like Thar, well, we've already said it earlier that it's pretty punchy to drive. This one with no 4x4, just a rear wheel drive, well, that means it's lighter as well. And that means it just feels a little quicker off the line. It just feels a little more raring to go and just has a little bit more spunk, if I might put it that way. It feels a little bit more energetic than the 4x4 Thar to drive. So if you are someone who knows that you're not going to take this dune bashing or you're not going to go hardcore off-roading on trails, well, I think this is a little more fun to drive than the 4x4 version. It's lighter, it's a little bit quicker. Even when you look at the steering, when you talk about the steering feel, because it has less weight, it just feels a little lighter up front. So the steering, the entire operation, it's a little bit more easier. However, I would have personally wanted it to be a little bit more lighter for urban users, because at times when you're filtering through really dense traffic or tight parking spots, that time a slightly more light operation or a little bit more assist from the motor would have helped. But nonetheless, I mean, it's still fairly easy to use, and I think it kind of this slightly heavier calibration goes in sync with the Thar's positioning, and people seem to love it. So yeah, I mean, why change it when there doesn't seem to be anything wrong? Moving a bit away from the performance of the engine, well, in terms of refinement, it's definitely better than the diesel one, but it could have been better for a petrol. In terms of vibration, and it's good. There are no unwanted vibrations throughout the cabin, but the sound could have been controlled a bit better, and that's my only slight area of improvement that I have in view, which could have been addressed. But beyond that, even in terms of performance, like I said, good punchy motor, accelerates well through the gears. The gearbox has been calibrated well to the engine, so getting up to triple digits and maintaining those on highways is not a problem at all. Now, since I did mention earlier that this doesn't have a 4x4, and that might make you think that probably there might be a major compromise in terms of off-road capability, but hey, hang on. Let me give you the good news. That isn't the case. Yes, of course, you can't go hardcore off-roading without a 4x4. That's a given. But still, with the kind of ground clearance it has, the kind of tires it has, the kind of the same ladder frame construction that it has, you can still throw a lot at it and it will take all of it with a smile. So you can easily go through bad roads, some sort of slush, mud, some sort of a trail. It should be able to handle that. Just stuff that really requires a 4x4 or an all-wheel drive, well, that is something that this won't be able to do. But yeah, that to give you a reference, a Leh-Ladakh trip, this should be able to do it with ease. And I mean, you don't really need a 4x4 for going Leh-Ladakh unless you're going at a time when it's pouring down in terms of snow. So this, in my opinion, is a very well-balanced vehicle. Like I said earlier while reviewing many SUVs that have 4x4 or all-wheel drive capability, that more than 90% of buyers do not end up using the 4x4 system to its capability during their ownership cycle. And so for such people who know that they're not going to go out on off-road trails, well, it makes a lot more sense to get a rear-wheel drive Thar. You get everything that the Thar is known for, that lifestyle image, that visual character, the kind of bragging rights or the wow factor you get on the road when people see you driving a Thar. So you get all of that, but you pay less because you don't need a 4x4, so you don't pay for that, and you get something that is a little bit lighter, a little bit quicker, a little more fun to drive. So I think with this Thar rear-wheel drive, Mahindra has got the recipe spot on, and I just hope this was there earlier, but nonetheless, it's there right now, and I think there is a huge market for this rear-wheel drive Thar. And well, we have already seen the Thar has just exploded onto the scene ever since it came, and this, I think, will just build up further on that success. So overall, as a product, I think Mahindra has got it really spot on with the Thar rear-wheel drive. And like I said earlier, not everyone needs a 4x4. So yes, this gives you everything else than a 4x4 and a little bit more that come with the benefits that come with not having a 4x4. Also the fact that you will end up paying a lesser purchase cost. Now when you talk about purchase cost or the cost itself, we do not have the prices right now because this is a yet to be launched vehicle, and the prices will be announced in a few days from now. But by the time you see this video, the prices should be there on your screen. We do not know them right now, but as long as Mahindra can give a significant price difference, that is, this should cost significantly less than the 4x4 version, I think it'll be a great pricing. We all know that 4x4 system costs a dear amount of money, and if they have done away with it and not added too much stuff in this, there should be a significant price reduction. And with that kind of price reduction, the Thar will just again open up to a different type of buyer, because then it will just become accessible to, in a way, to a lot of buyers who were even looking at buying hatchbacks, sort of a premium hatchback. So people who are going in for a higher version of a premium hatchback could end up looking at Thar, as long as they are open with the limited practicality that it offers, but want the kind of lifestyle appeal that it has. So keeping that in mind, and the benefits that it comes with, you know, the fact that it drives a little bit better, even in terms of ride and quality, because of the less weight, it just feels a little bit more happier around corners, although it's not a vehicle meant for going around corners really fast. But if you do that, it just feels a little bit more happier around corners. Ride quality and the comfort, well, it hasn't changed much, it remains the same. So in that respect, I think they have engineered the product very well, and the product mix is right. As long as the pricing is great, I think this product will rock the market. Just like the Thar exploded onto the scene, this will just kill it further. Right now, it seems that everything Mahindra is doing is just hitting the bullseye, and this just seems to be another one of those darts that is meant to go and hit the bullseye.